Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namami buddhang gunasagarantam satta sada hontu sukhi avera kayo jigunjo sakalo dugandho ganchanti sabbe maranam ahanca samanta cakkavalesu atra gacchantu devatam saddhammang munirajassa sunantu sagga mokkadam Dhammasavana kalo ayam badanta Dhammasavana kalo ayam badanta Dhammasavana kalo ayam badanta Namo tansa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhansa Namo tansa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhansa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhansa Arogya paramalabha santunti paramandanam Vissasa paramanyati nibbana paraman sukhanti Homage to the exalted one, the worthy one, the perfectly enlightened one. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dear friends in the Dhamma, today our topic is towards the highest contentment. We have chosen a very special topic in Buddhism, and I have selected a stanza which comes in Dhammapada. It is a very meaningful and helpful stanza to our day-to-day life. Here, Buddha explains the four valuable things in our life. Here it says about our health and contentment, trustworthiness and nibbana or everlasting happiness, liberation, freedom. These are the four topics which come in this same stanza. I think it is better to recite this stanza first together. Okay. Arogya paramalabha santunti paramang dhanam vissasa paramanyati Nibbana paramang sukham Arogya paramalabha santunti paramandanam Vissasa paramanyati Nibbana paramang sukham I think we have already discussed this stanza, I think 2 years ago, sometimes, if you remember. However, here first Buddha says, Arogya Paramalabha. Health is the highest gain. Santutti Paramandana. Contentment or satisfactoriness is the greatest wealth. Visvasa Paramanyati, the trustworthiness is the best kinsman or relative. Nibbana Paramansukam, Nibbana or the everlasting happiness or liberation is the bliss. These are the 4 things that come in this stanza. Okay, little by little we are going to explain these 4 things. First one is health. Health is one of our purpose. Actually, people usually say they are physical health, but Buddhism explains not only physical health, but mental health. In the world, a lot of people are healthy physically, but mentally most of them are unhealthy. That is why Buddhism especially emphasizes the importance of mental health. But it doesn't mean that Buddhism doesn't talk about physical health. There are a lot of doctrines, teachings in Buddhism, how we develop our physical health, how we control our food, how we control our sleep, how we drink water. Everything is described in Buddhism. Sports, not sports, but there are some exercises. What are the good exercises that we can do? Walk in meditation. While we are walking, we meditate, we concentrate our mind. And also as monks, Buddhism has explained some kind of activity that sweeping everywhere, morning and evening, we sweep everywhere. Not only sweep, but while we are sweeping, we meditate. We do it with mindfulness. We do every activity mindfully. Then we can use every activity as a meditation technique. And when we sweep, especially when we sweep the ground or earth, then when we think that, and also when we see after we swept, then we are happy. And people also come and see it, they are also happy. And that is one of the techniques that we can use as an exercise. And however, for the children, lay people, Buddha has explained some activities for children. There are some, instruments too, Buddha has explained how children can play. And but the main purpose of Buddhism is to point out the liberation. While we are going towards the liberation, Buddha has explained everything, how we manage in our life, how we succeed our marriage, and how we take care of our children, how we take care of our parents, how we should give good education to our children, and how we help our husbands and wives. Everything is described in Buddhism. Even, when you have a wife, you should give her what he likes. Like ornaments, clothes, everything that he needs, that he likes, we should prepare, we should give them. Because Buddha understood the success of family life. That is very important. The family is the main root or primary society in the big society. The success of family is very important when we go to the society. If family is not successful, actually the family members are not successful, then when they go to the society also not successful. That is why Buddhism always emphasizes the importance of success of family life. Here we can get some advice how we succeed our life. The first one is the physical health. We should care of our physical health. And also there are some techniques that Buddha has explained. When we go someplace, for example, in Buddha's time, people mostly go throughout jungles or forests. When we go throughout a jungle or forest, you should care of the animals who are there. And there are some trees which are poisoned. We should be careful. Those things are also described in Buddhism. And sometimes Buddha has explained, when we eat some meat, it causes us to have some sicknesses. Therefore, we should be care of our physical health. And also, especially, Buddhism recognized the importance of mental health. Even though we are healthy mentally, if we are unhealthy mentally, actually everything that we gained is useless. Sometimes we can see some people, they are physically healthy, but they have a lot of problems. And they can't manage their life. The reason is their mind is polluted with negative thoughts. That is why Buddhism has explained some kind of illnesses, mental illnesses, such as craving, lust, jealousy, anger, conceit, self-view, ignorance. Those are the mental illnesses that we should recognize. And Buddhism has explained some techniques, how we overcome these negative thoughts and how we cure from these illnesses. When our mind is angry, then it is a big illness. Therefore, the medicine is for anger is to practice loving kindness. When we are greedy, greed is one of the illnesses. When we are greedy, we have to offer something to others. Sometimes suddenly we can offer something to outside people, but first we can practice it at home. If you have your brothers, you can practice something among them. And if you have close friends, you can offer something that you have more. Those are the techniques that we can use to overcome greed. And conceit, conceit, mana, conceit, have you heard conceit? Conceit, I don't know how I pronounce it. Conceit, or conceit, conceit, mana, we say, yes. Mana means we always compare others. We always compare others. When we go to the higher level in spirituality, we don't compare others with us. And when we meet a person, we ask to which university that you have been to, and what are the degrees that you have. We usually ask the qualifications of them. Then after that we compare with us. That is the thing. It doesn't mean that we should not ask about other people, but we can ask. But when we go to the higher level in spirituality, we don't compare others with us. And that is also one of the negative thoughts that we have. And self-view or sakkaya ditthi. Always we think that I am the person who has all qualifications. Those are some kind of illnesses. Then we can live with other people with harmoniously. That is why we have to overcome these negative thoughts. And Buddha says, if we can overcome these negative emotions from our mind, then we can live as a healthy person. That is very important. Mental health and physical health. Buddha says again, we should have an ability to live in the society without anger among the people, those who are angry. We should have an ability to live without greed among the people who are greedy. We should have an ability to live in the society without lust among the people, those who are lustful. Those are the skills that we should show in the society. Sometimes we are going to show our physical health and physical appearance in the society using some techniques. But the most important thing is that Buddhism has explained. When we go to the society, we can see a lot of people, those who are angry. There are a lot of people in the world who are lustful. There are a lot of people in the society who are ignorant. They don't know the karmic law and the impermanence. Among those ordinary people, our skillfulness is that living without those negative thoughts. That is our personality. That is our skillfulness. That is our proficiency. It doesn't mean that we show those qualities to others. When we see other people, we are proud of our mind. We are proud of our skills. That is the thing that we can be happy. When we see some people who are earning a lot of things and who are so greedy, then at that time, Arahantas, they laughed. They were laughing. I have no this kind of needs. I have my peace in mind. They go away and they are laughing then. It doesn't mean that they neglect others. They understood the ordinary people and they realize their inner qualities where they are. That is also very important. The second one is contentment, satisfactoriness, or pleasure. The highest, Buddhism says, contentment is the greatest wealth. Santutti paravandana. Santutti means satisfactoriness about what already we have. It doesn't mean that we should not earn more things. We should go forward in our education and economy. It is good. But we should have a satisfactoriness with what we have already. But people, ordinary people, mostly think their happiness is tomorrow. They always wish a better tomorrow than today. But that tomorrow never comes until they die. When they die today, their future is tomorrow. Their tomorrow is tomorrow. Their future is tomorrow. It never comes. And every morning we should think today is the best day that we have remained. Then we can succeed every day. We can live happily every day if we have this good attention, awareness. And however, Buddha says some kind of satisfactoriness we should use. And one of them is, if we have some kind of skills already, we should be satisfied about the skills that already we have. If we have some appearance, we should think, this is good for me. Everybody has an identity. Everybody has a good appearance. We should think this. We should not compare with others. But we usually compare with other people. But we should compare by ourselves. I am better than tomorrow. I will be better than today. We should compare by ourselves. We should not compare with others. You should not compare your elder son with your younger son. Then their qualities are different. But we can compare their own life. My son, you should be better than yesterday. You should be better tomorrow than today. We should compare him by himself. That is the good thing. For example, if you have a child or brother, sometimes he have 50% marks for his mathematics. There is another student who has 70%. If you are going to compare those both students, then you criticize your Malli, your brother or your son. Your son or brother has 50%. But the other student, who is your neighbor, he has 70%. Then you blame your Malli, brother. Why you didn't better mark like the neighbor? But what is the reality? Your brother or son had 40% for last exam. Now he has 50%. How is your neighbor? He had 90% in his last exam. In this exam, he has 70%. Who is the better person? Yes. But sometimes in next exam, your brother or son will have 70%. That neighbor will have 60%. That is why we should not compare us with others. But we can compare our life day by day. Always we should think, I should be better more and more. Then we can go forward. Especially, Buddhism emphasizes the importance of satisfactoriness with what we have already. About our appearance, skills, wealth, education. With those things, if we can satisfy it today, we can succeed our whole life. And Buddhism says is, Yatha bala santutti. Yatha bala means strength. We should have a satisfactoriness with what our strength is. Yatha bala sakti. And also, if we have some kind of appearance, beauty of our life, we should be happy about our appearance. If we have some kind of education or wealth, we should satisfied what we have with what we have now. Then our whole life is happy. If we think, after I have the degree, after I receive my doctorate, I will be happy. Actually, after you receive your master degrees or PhD degrees, then you think, after I receive another thing, I will be happy. But our young age, our valuable, beautiful young age has ceased. In this situation, every day we should be happy with our facilities, with our relatives, friends, and wealth, what already we have. That is the thing Buddhism has explained. Don't misunderstand, it doesn't mean that we should be lazy. We should not earn more things. Actually, Buddha always encourages us to earn more things in righteous way. While we are earning more things, while we are earning more education, we should have an ability to be happy today. That is the purpose of Buddhist point of view. The third one, Vissasa Paramanyati, the trust or trustworthiness is the best kinsman or relative. If somebody is honest, if someone is trustworthy, he is the real relative. Although you have relatives, even though they are not honest, if they are not trustworthy, actually they are not real relatives. Even though we have some friends, if they are trustworthy people, if they are honest, actually they are the real relatives. In this situation, Buddhism points out the importance of trustworthiness. Vissasa paramanyati. When we find a trustworthy person, first we should be honest. We should be trustworthy first. Then we can find the same quality people. If you are cunning, if you are not honest, you will meet the same person. If you are greedy, you meet greedy persons. If you are a drunkard, you will meet a drunkard very soon. That's the thing in this situation. According to our qualities, we meet the same people. Buddha has given an example. When we look at the sky, we can see the same birds, same color birds in the same line. In the society also like that. The people who gathered together are the same quality people. And this is the reality in the society. However, little by little, we should go forward with good qualities, especially Buddhism points out the good qualities that relatives or friends should have. Last time we discussed the good qualities that we should have. What are the inner qualities that we should have? Generosity, good qualities we are discussing. Good quality and gratitude, generosity, loving kindness, compassion, honesty and intelligence. Intelligence is the highest quality. Even though someone is honest, if he is not intelligent, sometimes he may do stupid things. He may do some bad things because of his ignorance. The intelligence is the highest thing that we should have. In this situation, if we have good friends, it is one of the wealth that we have. When we discuss the friendship in Buddhism, actually there are a lot of teachings that we can see in Buddhism. Especially in Singhala Sutta, the discourse of Singhala Vada, Buddha describes the qualities of the friends and also what are the negative qualities of the friends. How we recognize a friend. There are a lot of techniques in Buddhism. And sometimes their words are very sweet, but their heart is not like that. We usually recognize people throughout their appearance and words. Actually, it is not the symbols, it is not the sign that we find a real friend. We have to talk with them. Especially when we have a trouble, we can recognize the friends and relatives. And also if you go to a trip, long trip, then you can recognize your friends. And especially Buddha says the place where we can recognize our friends and relatives in a trouble. And it doesn't mean that we should care of other people, but first we should recognize ourselves. What kind of qualities that already I have? What kind of negative qualities that already I have? Then we use the Dhamma as a mirror, not as a glass or spectacle. Dhamma or Buddha's teaching is like a mirror. When we listen to Dhamma, we recognize how I am. What are the qualities that already I have? What are the mistakes that I have? But ordinary people are going to look at outside when we listen to Dhamma. They use Dhamma as a glass. Dhamma is not a glass. Dhamma is a mirror that is useful to recognize by ourselves. However, we talked about trustworthiness. And it is very important. A philosopher has said that you have to give to a person only thing that trustworthiness. You don't need to give other people food or other things. The best thing, the best gift that you should give to your relatives and friends is the trustworthiness. When we are going to practice Dhamma, Buddha says, at the very beginning on the path of liberation, the quality that we should have is the honesty or trustworthiness. If we are honest, if we are trustworthy, even though we have some other negative behavior or misbehavior or mistakes, we can overcome them suddenly. If we are honest and intelligent. You know, you have heard about Angulimala. Angulimala killed hundreds of people, but he was honest and he was intelligent. Even though he had a lot of mistakes in his life, when Buddha says 4 words, he gave up everything that he had mistakes. Because he was honest. He was intelligent. Buddha met some people who didn't have mistakes, but they were not honest. Buddha had to explain his message again and again to them because they were not honest. If we are honest, suddenly we can recognize our mistakes and we can correct them. Therefore, honesty invites us to go forward. The 4th one is Nibbana. Nibbanam Paramansukam. Nibbana is the bliss. Nibbana means liberation, freedom, or everlasting happiness. Buddhism explains, the Buddha explained his doctrines not for invisible Nibbana. Buddha explains his Dhamma for the cessation of visible suffering. That is a very special thing. Some people are running towards the invisible Nibbana, but they give up. They give up visible contentment, visible satisfactoriness. In this situation, we should understand, Buddha pointed out the path for the cessation of visible suffering. Then automatically we can reach the destination, Nibbana. Sometimes people ask, do you believe a God? Do you believe the God? That is their main question. But it is not the important question of a person who wishes to achieve the peace of mind. We can believe the God. It is not a problem. But the main problem is when somebody blames you, how you overcome your suffering. When you remember something, if you are angry, how you overcome your anger. When you meet a person who is unpleasant, how you overcome that unpleasantness. And when someone disturbs your close relatives and friends, how you overcome that suffering? When your close relatives like your mom and dad dies in front of you, how you overcome your suffering? This is the path that Buddha pointed out. It is not important whether there is a God in the universe. And here, Buddha explains how we are suffering at the moment. When we look at something, if our mind is fixed in outside material things, it means we are not away from suffering. When we experience something through our five senses, we have only the primary experience. When we recognize something throughout our five senses, the first experience has ceased. We experience those things throughout our mind. For example, when you look at the sky, when you see some planets and galaxies, some planets, galaxies, and stars are seized. Sometimes more than 100 years ago, some stars are seized. But still you can see it because the light has come far away. Not only that experience, if you look at me, your first experience has ceased. You recognize me throughout your mind. Then first experience has ceased. If we can recognize this reality, actually we have an ability to go forward soon on this path. People are ignorant because of not understanding this. And if we can understand our six senses, how these six senses arise and cease, then always we look at inside. When we experience something, we suddenly look at inside. The people always focusing on outside, like scientists. They are looking at universe always. The ordinary people also like that. They always look at outside throughout their senses. Buddhism doesn't say that you should not look at outside. In Buddha's time, one of some other religious person said that, Bhante, the way how we control our senses is, my teacher, my master says that don't look at outside, don't hear outside. Then Buddha says, my friend, if it is correct, the people who are blind and deaf, they may be ascetic people. They may be enlightened. Because they never see anything. They never listen to anything. They may be enlightened person. Buddhism says, Nate kama yani chitrani loke. The beautiful things in outside are not lust or lustful. The lust or anger arises inside according to our mental condition. If we can recognize our mind living in the present moment, no matter whether we see good or bad, we can look at it with mindfulness, and then nobody or nothing can disturb our peace of mind. The reason is we depend on outside. We depend on inside. Now, as ignorant people, they depend on outside. Outside people and things can control them. Whenever we are away from mindfulness, outside people and things can control us. We are like beggars. Beggars depend on outside. Always they are asking something. We are also like that. We are waiting until a person calls. We are waiting until other people are laughing with us. We are waiting until other people appreciate us. We have no inner qualities to be happy. If we can generate positive thoughts and if we can recognize the reality in the world, we can see what happens to our life. We recognize, we reflect on What are the realities in the world? There are three realities in the world. Three characteristics. Anicca, dukkha and anatta. Anicca means impermanence. Dukkha means suffering. Anatta means egolessness or selflessness. This is the reality in the world, which happens every moment, whether we like or not. If we can understand this reality, impermanence, what is the impermanence that Buddhism says? Our 6 internal senses arise at the moment. The external objects also arises at the moment. You may think that this table was here before I see, but this table created by ourselves at the moment. When you look at me just now, you may be happy. When I blame you, after I blame you, then when you look at me, you are unhappy. My body, the external object is same. According to your mental condition, you may get angry, anger, or happiness. We usually think that external objects are ready-made. But according to ultimate truth, there are no outside ready-made things. We make them at the moment, according to our mental condition. That is why from moment to moment, our ideas, our attitude different. According to our mental conditions, again and again, our attitude about the people changes. I have given an example to you about your brother. When you think your brother, if you think now he is studying at home, you are happy. Suddenly you think that in the evening he had a mistake. Then you may get angry. Suddenly you have a call from your mom that your brother is admitted to the hospital with a serious illness. Then you are so compassionate. But when you go home, it is a mistake. It is not your brother, it is another person, neighborhood person. Actually, outside persons or things can bring us happiness or sorrow. We create happiness or sorrow or suffering according to our inside the state of mind. If we can understand this reality, our main purpose should be go forward on this understanding while we are doing our day-to-day activities, while we are fulfilling our responsibilities for our relatives and friends and workplace, while we are studying at the college or university. We understand this is the real path to get rid of suffering. Therefore, we give the priority to go on this path while we are doing normal things in day-to-day life. That should be our duty. The time is the most important thing that we have. We should get the result from time. He who gets the results from the time gets the result from the life. Time is the most important thing. Therefore, every moment we should spend with this understanding, practicing mindfulness and impermanence. And Buddha says, Nibbana is the cessation of anger, the cessation of craving, the cessation of ignorance. Ragakkayo, dosakkayo, mohakkayo nibbanam. The Nibbana, or everlasting happiness, is the cessation of greed or craving. Ragakkayo. Dosakkayo, the cessation of anger. Mohakkayo, the cessation of ignorance. That is the Nibbana. Nibbana is not the place where we can live. Actually, it is an understanding. And with that understanding, we have no attachment or disattachment with the people or things. It doesn't mean that we go away from our responsibilities. Actually, we will do our responsibilities than we do now after this experience. That is why Arhantas, the Buddha, slept only 2 hours per day. Other hours he spent for the people. And this is the nature of the enlightened person. And we are so compassionate after this experience because, even though people are well educated and rich, they are not happy. They are unhappy. They have no real satisfactoriness. We have compassionate to give this message to them too. We don't want they should be confident in Buddha. We want to explain them how they achieve liberation, how they can overcome suffering. We are so compassionate. We are so kind after this experience towards the world. Because all people in the world were our close relatives and friends in our previous lives. When we become the liberation, enlightenment, we are hurried to explain others to this message if they have good attention. They should have only one qualification when we are going to explain this message. What is that? Good attention, suvacha. If you are away from suffering, if you are confident in this message, you should be hurried to explain this message to your beloved relative and your close relative if he or she is a person who has good attention. If they have no good attention, we can't help them. It is like counseling. When you are going to a counselor, you should have good awareness or attention. If you don't need counseling as a client, counselors can help you. Buddhism also like that. However, Nibbana is the bliss. And we were born in this world to become this bliss. And day by day, we should go forward with this understanding. The most important thing is in Buddhism is understanding the Four Noble Truths. In short, suffering and the cessation of suffering. When we experience something, if we think that experience is outside, or if we think before I experience it was here, after we experience it remains, that is the ignorance. That is the sign that you are in suffering. And if we can change this attitude, vision to the correct way, as soon as we experience something, if we are able to understand this experience arises in the inside, and also this experience arises at the moment, then we look at inside. We don't go outside, finding other things, finding happiness or sorrow. And this is the nature of arising of suffering and the cessation of suffering. All Buddhist doctrines depend on this understanding. And first of all, we should recognize this path and we should understand the vehicle or road that we go on. The path. The path is the Eightfold Path. In short, it has described as 3 characteristics. Sila, Samadhi, Panya. Sila is a virtue. Samadhi means concentration. Panya means wisdom. We should have good discipline in our speech and behavior. Then, with a good discipline, we concentrate our mind in the present moment using some techniques. We increase the duration living in the present moment, purifying our mind using a meditation technique. With concentrated mind, we reflect on reality as it is, which happens every moment, the impermanence. The real success depends on our life as intelligent persons, the duration of concentration and reflecting on impermanence. Buddha says, as an intelligent person, the highest education that we gain is the understanding of 5 aggregates. As an intelligent person, the highest practice that we should follow is developing our concentration and wisdom. Finally, we have to practice only 2 things, concentration and wisdom. Concentration means using mindfulness, we keep our attention in the present moment using some positive thoughts, such as loving kindness, breathing meditation, contemplating on Buddha's qualities. These are the techniques that we can use to purify our mind. And not only concentrate mind, but we reflect on impermanence. It happens every moment. My eyes is impermanent, forms are impermanent, ear is impermanent, sounds are impermanent, nose is impermanent, smell is impermanent. Those are the things that we reflect on always. If we can go forward on this path, little by little our inner peace increases. Little by little we go away from suffering. Little by little we depend on inside intelligence or wisdom. We don't depend on outside. Then outside people can't control us, because we are completely in mindfulness and understanding. It doesn't mean that we don't respond to others. We live with the people in the society like ordinary people, but mentally we are in the highest position. People can't understand who we are, but our attitude is different. You know, our mom and dad sometimes play with our younger siblings. People, those who look at it, they may say that, they are also playing with the children. But mentally they don't play. Physically they are playing, but mentally their attitude is different. We are also like that. We can go to a party. It's not a problem. We can go for a wedding. It's not a problem, but our attitude is different. You always practice loving kindness, mindfulness, and contemplating on insight meditation. These are the things that should be developed in our mind with this understanding. And finally, 2 qualities gradually increase. They are loving kindness and intelligence. When we have loving kindness, we are kind, we have sympathetic joy, we are in equanimity. Satara Brahma Viharana, 4 sublime states. And when our intelligence increases, the understanding of the karmic law and the understanding of the dependent origination gradually increases. Buddha says, he who sees the dependent origination sees the Dhamma. He who sees the Dhamma sees the Buddha. Understanding of the dependent origination is the way to see the Buddha. Until we understand the dependent origination, we don't know that a Buddha appeared in the world. Even though we didn't see the Buddha physically, if we recognize Buddha's main doctrine, the heart of Buddhism, the dependent origination, or the Four Noble Truths, then we can see the Buddha throughout this Dhamma, even though Buddha has passed away. Have any question in this topic? Again, we can recite the stanza, please, together. Arogya Paramalabha Santutti Paramandhanam Vissasa Paramanyati Nibbana Paramansukam Arogya Paramalabha Santutti Paramandhanam Vissasa Paramanyati Nibbana Paramansukam. Health is the highest gain. Contentment is the greatest wealth. The trustee or the trustworthiness is the best kinsman or relative. Nibbana is the highest bliss. This is the stanza that we talk together. With the understanding of this stanza and by the power of contemplating on Buddha's noble qualities and listening to Buddha's message, we acquired a lot of meritorious deeds. By the power of all this spiritual energy, may our departed relatives also receive this spiritual energy. May they enhance their sansaric journey, and finally may they also attain final bliss of liberation. With that intention, let's transfer these merits to our beloved departed relatives too, reciting the Gatha. Idam me jnātinam hotu sukhita huntu jnātayo. Idam me jnātinam hotu sukhita huntu jnātayo. Idam me jnātinam hotu sukhita huntu jnātayo. By the power of all these meritorious activities, may guardian deities and angels also receive this energy. May they enhance their spiritual energy. May they keep their eye on you too. May they also attain final bliss of liberation. With that intention, let's transfer these merits to guardian deities and angels too. Ākāsattā ca bhummattā devā nāgā mahiddhikā puññam taṃ anumodittvā chiraṃ rakඛantu sāsanam. Ākāsattā ca bhummattā devā nāgā mahiddhikā puññam taṃ anumodittvā chiraṃ rakඛantu des. Ākāsattā ca bhummattā devā nāgā mahiddhikā puññam taṃ anumodittvā chiraṃ rakඛantu tvaṃ sadā. By the power of all these meritorious activities, may you be well, happy and peaceful. May no harm come to you. May no problems come to you. May no difficulties come to you. May your all righteous wishes meet with success. Finally, may all of us attain final bliss of liberation, the everlasting happiness, Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dukkham pantā ca niddukkhaṃ bhayam pantā ca nibbhayam සෝකම් පන්තාච නිස්සෝකා හොන්තු සම්බේති පානිනෝ දුකින් පෙළෙන සත් දුකින් මිදෙත්වා බියෙන් පෙළෙන සත් බිය නැති වෙත්වා සොරින් තැවෙන සත් සොම්නස් වෙත්වා නිතින් මේ හැම සත් සුවපත් වෙත්වා. May the triple gem bless you. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.